All you beautiful magical beings out there, your High Witch of Hawaii, Kahu'oni Love, is here. It has been a hot minute since I last spoke or even made any kind of videos here on YouTube. And I just wanted to come on here because it's been crazy. Transitional speaking, the Lunar New Year has begun. The new year of the calendar has begun. And so I just decided to kind of like take time in between the transition of last year and this year to kind of take a step back. So I didn't make any videos. And besides, I'm not really familiar, and I'm learning how to film and put my things up and edit and all of that stuff. Eventually I hope to have someone who can do it for me, but for now it's all self-taught. You know what I mean? I'm learning how to do these things so I can get it out there. So I decided to take a step back, and normally during the transition of the years I normally like to kind of step back anyway. So with that, business has been changing. Things have been evolving here with me and Auntie Lokelani, aka Tasha, in her real life, you know. We've been evolving our business into a whole nother level. We are still here doing healing service with our old clientele. We're not accepting any new clients at the moment, but we've actually evolved, and I'm actually really excited. I'm really excited for this evolution that we're in, because it allows us to be here more for the community, especially here in Hawaii. In Hawaii, we have we live on islands. You know, Hawaii is made up of different islands, so there's so many different islands, but islands, they're only so big, you know, and so the spiritual community, what we're doing, evolving, is allowing the spiritual community to have a space to practice their rituals, practice their craft, perform their rituals, gather together, you know, whatnot. So basically we've evolved our business into a space opening type of community. We've evolved. Our name is called The Ritual Grove, and you can go to Instagram at The Ritual Grove. I'll have a link in the description below. But because Hawaii is, you know, we're only so big, so a lot of us, actually, majority of Hawaii, we live in multi-family homes. So basically what that means is that families of all generations live together in one home. And that's how it's always been, because the cost of living in Hawaii is super high. And with the government and the corporations making Hawaii like this destination, you know, it's not really taught that there are actually people that live here. So because the cost of living is so high, we're not like the mainland, the continental USA, where, you know, where there's places that are very affordable to live, where, you know, I do have friends on the mainland who have, you know, when we were growing up and we were graduating from high school, you know, the trend was, you know, you graduate, go off to college and find your own space. But in Hawaii it's different. It's not possible, because I think the average low income from last I checked, from, and I think this was like 2019 or maybe 2020 or maybe even it was one of them, but I remember seeing the average what was considered low income was like $80,000 or $90,000 here in Hawaii. And that's the statistics that is posted up in the media, but that's not true. Majority of us are not in that bracket. You know, we would love to be in that bracket, but in order to get that bracket, majority of us here in Hawaii have to work 2, 3, 4 jobs. No, for real. So if you think I'm lying, then I don't know, because I'm letting you all know this is coming strictly from the High Witch of Hawaii, who actually lives here. Okay. Anyhow, so when Tasha and I were talking about it, we were like, okay, well, we're going to evolve. We want to be able to service the spiritual community. And of course, when you're in the spiritual community and when you have a spiritual business, you're not really looking to make money. I mean, you're not going to be like super Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Amazon, that kind. It's totally impossible from many standpoints. It's not impossible to make a really good living, but if you're trying to become a billionaire, because the spiritual business is all about service, and it's always helping each other. So we discussed and we decided to evolve our business into providing space here in Hawaii for all of those who don't have it. And just like how I said, because we live in multifamily homes, many of us, generations, it's like 3 generations, 2, 3, 4 generations sometimes they live in a house. And many of us that are on a spiritual path live with other people who don't necessarily have the same beliefs that we do. And so, to practice our craft is really hard, finding that space and time. And so that's why we here decided to evolve our space into the Ritual Grove, and it's a beautiful space. We're in the beta group because we want to grow it. So right now we have 3 spaces available, where 2 areas are able to hold up to 2 people, 1 to 2 people, and the one area that's able to hold up to 3 to 6 people. And it's for all levels of practitioners, whether you're psychic, a healer in body work or energy work, or a mystic, which is basically a shaman, a witch, a druid, etc., practicing your craft. So we have a space here that allows anyone who is a practitioner in the spiritual magical field, if they want to come in, a solo practitioner, or a group or a coven that needs a place to meet, and it's at an affordable cost, because we understand that trying to make it here in Hawaii is up there as far as monetary. And I would like to think about, like, oh my gosh, that's just the art of manifestation and magic, but you know what, reality comes in and it's like, well, hello, unless collectively us as a people come together and ransack the government, just like what happened the other time last year or the year before, or that one time in DC. But unless a bunch of us here ransack the government and just manifestation ain't gonna do nothing, because the cost of living is still high. That's just the bottom line. So the reality is we just gotta flow with the flow. So that's why we try to make it an affordable cost. So if you want to go at Instagram, at the Ritual Grove, that's the name. Now I'm telling everybody that at the Ritual Grove because that's what I think the name is, in order for you to find, because that's what I just learned. I'm learning how to make little short videos in TikTok now, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah. I'm just all over the place. Spirituality, I got it, I know it, whatever, but when I gotta transmute it into physical, I'm a little bit, lost. So I'm learning, and I'm totally open to learning and whatnot. But yeah, Instagram, The Ritual Grove, and you can find out more information, the cost, the booking times, whatnot. We're hoping that, especially if you're in Hawaii and you're watching, and if you're not in Hawaii and you're in the spiritual community, but people, share this, or if you're even not in Hawaii, but you're gonna come, right? Why not come check us out? Because we're all about, providing this magical, beautiful, spiritual place, Aloha Spirits. We're actually right upstairs at this moment. If you're watching this video at this moment in 2022 of March, this is when I'm filming it. Hopefully I get it up. So if you're watching it anytime after that, we're actually above Aloha Elixirs, which is a metaphysical store. And we're right next door to Hale Manaora, which is a space where they do sound healing and really caring for the body in that space. So we have a place here on Oahu in Honolulu, or specifically Kaimoki. We're here, a small little spiritual community, but what people don't really realize is this community was big in spiritual mysticism before, like even the generation before me. And it's amazing how that even happened, because the space that we're actually in the space where one of the metaphysical stores used to be before. And the only reason why I know that is because I used to go to that store, which was in this space years ago when it was still open. And it's just, it goes up and down, the spiritual community, it goes up and down as far as stores and, places to have where it's non-denominational, where it's not about religion, where it's all about just spiritual practitioners from all walks coming together in similarity and just learning within themselves and learning from other people. So yeah, if you're not from Hawaii but you're visiting Hawaii, come check us out. Go to at the Ritual Grove. If you're not from Hawaii or living in the mainland and you have Hawaii connections, share this video, tell people. Especially if you're in a spiritual community. If you're in a spiritual community and you're like wanting to support, hello, let's do this, because having space is so important. I know so many of us practitioners out there that are wanting to get a space. They have this desire, they have this desire to come together and, create a space and, for whatever purposes they want to create. But that's what we do. We're not a metaphysical store. We're not metaphysical services. We're not a spiritual store. All we do is we're providing space for you to come. Yeah. Kind of like a manga cafe. Now, if you're familiar with Japanese, which I'm part Japanese, yeah, I'm a little mixed. As for another video, I'm going to make another video about that. But yeah, if you're familiar with a manga cafe or a co-working space, but I say manga cafe because I like the whole Japanese vibe when it comes to manga cafe. Manga cafes are like a place where you can go and you can like buy time to sit in their areas and read manga. And manga is like an anime or a comic book, characters, storylines. Japanese are famous for that and they call it manga. Yeah. And it ranges from G to rated X and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, so I love the way the manga cafes are situated. So that's why I decided to, or that's not why I decided, but that's why I was led to by guidance of spirit, and we talked about it, Tasha and I, and then we decided to, let's do it. You know what I mean? Because spirit guides us all the time. So anyhow, that's what's going on with the High Witch of Hawaii and, her little small little coven over here and the magic that is happening. Also, oh my gosh, before I forget. So yes, I'm putting a little bit snippet because this is supposed to be my vlog and I'm just like following all over the place. But yes, we are diving into the kitchen magic here. Yes, we are. So along with the Ritual Grove, providing space for a spiritual community, we are actually entering the arts of kitchen magic. We want to get that global. So we started doing that. I would really love for you guys to check it out if you're watching this, you want to support or whatever. But go to 808 Bun Buns, okay? That's 808 _ buns. Yes. Anyhow, if you can't type it in, go to High Witch of Hawaii Instagram or the Ritual Go Instagram. You're gonna find out because we're venturing off into the world of kitchen magic. Because actually in reality, I grew up in the kitchen. I grew up in the bakery, and that was actually gonna be one of my professions. Oh God. Years and years ago. See, I'm going into memory. My memory banks are coming over here. The nostalgia of being in that world. I was actually going to become a pastry chef. Well, actually, I was going to become a chef. And then I wanted to be a pastry chef. And then when I was working in the area, in the kitchen, I was like, nah, that's okay. That's a whole other story. That's for like another time. Anyways, yeah, so that's what's going on with me and the High Witches here. I'm going to be posting more videos now that I transitioned over from the old year, the old Lunar New Year to the new Lunar New Year. And plus, too, with all that nasty negative, if you've seen the recent video, which I think was in January, which is basically the last video from this video, it was about the feng shui the energies that were coming, and yeah, I gotta say, you can't make it up. You can't make it up. Like, it's just hard to make stuff like that up. Like, I did the reading, I did the video, and here a few months later, I mean, look, the transition, so, for those of you that are listening to my words, that were there in the beginning of the year, or at the ending of last year, and you were instructed to get a reading, do your charts, do your stars, and haven't, well, you have until the end of April, because once April is done, I'm done doing it for the rest of the year, okay? But if you haven't, yeah, you can't make this kind of stuff up. It happens. I mean, it is the way it is, you know? But for those of you who have done it, kudos to you. Congratulations to you. You guys are amazing because you guys are proactive. Now you guys got to just jump on it. So anyhow, stay tuned. I have much more coming for the rest of the year. Okay? So anyways, this is your High Witch of Hawaii, Kahu'oni Love, saying, remember the magic is within you, and hugs and honeys.